boys and girls, it's Mrs. Reyes again. So I hope that practice problem went okay for you. I will post the answers more towards the end of the week, but I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and practice these. And so we're going to move now on to the next section. This is technically 10.4, and we're just talking about time intervals here. And so we're going to start with this particular problem here. And so as you notice, I've got my start time in green, I've got my elapsed time in the blue, and then my end time in the red. So you're going to notice that for this particular problem, I have my start time, I have my elapsed time, so what I need to find is my ending time. So since I have my start time, I'm going to start at the beginning of the open number line, and I'm going to record exactly the information that is right there at my start time. And then I'm going to be working into the future. When I work into the future, I'm going to be moving very literally right to my right side of my number line, and I'm going to be moving the amount of minutes that has been listed. So it lists 45 minutes. So as always, I'm going to look at my tens place, and I'm going to move into the future by my tens place. So there happens to be 40 minutes there. So I'm going to make 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps, 4 rainbows, and I'm going to have a plus 10. So when I go ahead and count, I know how many I'm counting, and these are all minutes, by the way. And so if it's 4:15, I know 10 more minutes would be 4:25, 10 more minutes would be 4:35, 10 more minutes would be 4:45, and 10 more minutes would be 4:55. So let me make sure I counted 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. So I know I'm at 4:55 p.m. And so since I've been able to move my minutes that's been listed in my tens column, now I'm going to move to my ones, and I'm going to add those additional minutes. So if it's at 4:55, I need to move 5 more minutes. I can make 5 more small little rainbows. 2, this is 3, this is 4, that's 5. And each of these are plus 1 minute. So if this is 4:55 right here, this would be 4:56, 4:57, 4:58, 4:59, and I'm landing at 5:00 p.m. And then so this is my ending time. I'm gonna go ahead, circle it in red, and then I can write 5:00 right inside my ending time. And so here's one more for practice. So this time I'm missing my start time. So my start time is going to be in green. So it looks like that's what I'm missing. I know that my ending time is in red. My ending time is all the way at the end to 45. And then now my eyes are getting really, really big because I'm noticing that these minutes are a lot of minutes. So I hope I don't end up making a mistake, but I'm just gonna do the very best that I can. And that's all I'm asking of you. And I promise there's no practice problems with this large amount of minutes. I just thought that I would teach the harder problem, and then this way you guys can work on some of the easier ones until you get the hang of it. So if I'm working from my ending time, I need to work backwards because I'm working more now to my left. So this is in backwards time. So I have to do a little bit of thinking here because I'm used to moving back by hours, and this is not done in hours. This has been done in minutes. So I have to think, well, how many hours are in 250 minutes? So I have to do a little bit of side math. So I'm going to get a side piece of paper, and I'm going to think to myself, all right, I know that 60 and 60 equals 120 minutes. So this would be 1 hour, this would be 2 hours. Now if I add another 60 minutes, I get to 180, that would be 3 hours. And I think I can even add another 60 minutes to that. 0, 8, and 6 is 4, 14 technically. And I get to 240, which is really close to my 250. So what seemed to be really scary is not even that bad anymore, because 250, when you basically convert that into hours, those minutes into hours. I know I'm now talking about 4 hours. And then I can do this math in my head. I know that 250 minus 240 means 10 minutes. That I know I can do in my head. So instead of this being such a scary problem, it's actually come to be pretty simple now. So if I'm at 2:45 and I'm at PM, I'm going to start moving back by my hours first. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4-hour jumps. And I'm just going to write a plus, or I shouldn't be even writing plus. It should technically be minus because I'm going back in time. -1, -1, and they're all hours. You can put an H after each one of them. The abbreviation is more for you. So I know that if it's 12:45 and I go back in time by 1 hour, it would be 1:45. If I go back in another hour, I know 1:45 would be 12:45. Another hour would be 11:45. And another hour would be 10:45. Now, because I'm always wanted to double check my work, because once you kind of get into these high levels of math, you're not just doing one thing at a time, you're doing a couple things at a time. And it's very easy to lose your train of thinking. So that's the reason why it's important to always be double checking what you're doing and just making sure that you're on the mark. So I'm going to just double check, make sure that I've got my 4 hours. I've got my 4 hours at 12:45. This would be 1:45, or sorry, 2:45, 1:45, 12:45, 11:45, 10:45. So when I go ahead and I double check it, I feel like I'm landing on the right numbers. Everything's feeling right. Everything seems like it's fitting in the right place. So now that I've jumped back in time by my hours, the only thing I have left to do is move back by my 10 minutes, which is pretty simple. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a jump and write 10, and I'm gonna put an M after that just to remind myself that I'm no longer moving by hours, I'm moving by minutes. So instead of looking at my hours, I'm going to be looking at my minutes. I know that my hour is going to stay the same, and my minutes are just going to go back by 10. 45 minus 10 equals 35. And notice how it was PM here, but because right about here when I hit that 12 o'clock mark, anything that's before that is technically going to be in the AM hours. So I'm double checking, making sure I've got my 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Here's my 10 minutes. I know that 60 and 60 is my 120. And then if I add 120 and 120 together, this would be 120 and that would be 120. I know that that equals 240 plus my 10 more minutes, which equals my 250 minutes. So a little bit of work on this one, a lot of conversion, a lot of numbering that needs to come into place to be able to find what that beginning time would be. So I'm going to go ahead and circle my beginning time at 10:35 a.m. I've double checked it all, moving back by my 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, my 10 minutes, 2:45, 1:45, 12:45, 11:45, 10:45, going back by my 10 minutes would be 10:35. So I'm very confident that my final time would be 10:35 a.m. So this is our using time intervals. And so I'm going to have you guys practice this working on this particular sheet that's attached. So most of the minutes here are pretty manageable for you to do. I did put one lightly challenging one here at the bottom. So obviously this is not going to be one that you're going to be able to just move back in time. You are going to need to convert that into your hours and then into your minutes. But I still don't think it'll be too bad. Not as bad as the 450 minutes. So try it out, see how you do, and at the end of the week, I will post another video with the answers. So good luck, boys and girls. Reach out if you need our helps. Thank you.